What's up guys, welcome back to another video. My name's Gareth from Park Cameras and today we're checking out the new Panasonic Lumix 50mm f1.8. Now, this is an interesting lens. It's for S-series cameras. I've been using it with the S1, which has been actually a really nice setup. But why do I say this is interesting? Well, it's a 50mm f1.8. It's also the most affordable lens, or at least native lens, for those S-series cameras. So it's kind of a nifty 50. It's definitely got that vibe to it. But it doesn't have that same trade-off you would normally expect with a nifty 50. So where they're great and they're the first kind of prime you would get, and it's very exciting because it's got an f1.8 aperture, but the image quality, there's a bit of a trade-off there because it's cheap and the image quality is fine, but it's not super great. This one doesn't really have that same kind of trade-off. Now, it's not as cheap as you would normally expect of a nifty 50. I think it's just over £400. You can check the link in the description for the full price and full spec and all that kind of stuff. So it's not as cheap, but then it definitely performs a lot better, which I think is great because it makes it a valid option for way better longevity of being able to use this lens rather than kind of feeling the need to upgrade from the nifty 50 as basically as fast as possible. I think that this could last you a long time, and I could actually imagine using this for, actually commercial portrait work, headshots, all that kind of stuff. I think this is a good lens. Image quality wise, it's actually really, really nice. It's nice and sharp. The colors look great. I was generally very happy with how this performed, whether I was doing portraiture or whether I was taking photos of something else. It's got 9 elements in 8 different groups with 8 spherical elements as well. So you'd expect it to be performing pretty well. And it's a 9-bladed aperture, so you get a nice smooth, good looking bokeh. I like the look of the bokeh with this lens. Sitting on the front of the S1, I was mostly using this for photography, but I could absolutely see using this for video as well. Be a useful lens. And part of the reason for that is it's not very heavy at all. So it's not super small compared to, like I say, it's difficult not to compare this to other nifty 50s because, it falls kind of roughly into that category, although like I say, it's a bit above that actually. But it's not as small as you might get with some other kind of nifty 50s, but I actually like the size of this. It's incredibly light as well. You can probably see me throwing it about. I probably shouldn't be doing that, but you can probably see me throwing it about a little bit. And I really like the feel of this lens. It fits really well on those cameras. It means it's not front heavy at all. It'd be really easy to pop this on a gimbal because it would be weighted really nicely towards the camera. I like it a lot. So I can see using this for video, but also for photography. I'm really enjoying this lens in particular. And like I say, portraiture stuff, other things, that bokeh, whether you want to go for a nice shallow depth of field with the f1.8 aperture, whether you want to stop down and get a bit of a different kind of shot. I really like the look of the images that come from this lens and the feel of it as well. Now the lens itself, it's pretty sleek. There's not a lot of controls on it, just the AF/MF switch and a nice kind of decent sized focus ring as well. Now you can actually change that from linear to non-linear focusing if you want to. I don't really use manual focus pretty much at all. So for me, that's not something that would really bother me, but it is something that's worth noting because I know a lot of you like to use manual focus as well as autofocus as well. Now, actually, speaking of autofocus, I actually found this to work really well. And I know you're thinking, because I know when we talked about, the S5, that's had a big upgrade with autofocus and all that kind of stuff, but I get it. Panasonic autofocus isn't necessarily the best out there. But genuinely, using this with the S1, with the new firmware for the autofocus, no issues, right? Portraiture, other stuff, it worked really well. I was actually really surprised and really happy by how well it works. It's very, very quiet as well. I couldn't hear anything, which means it's great for video, great for all kinds of stuff. So I think this is definitely a very usable lens. And that price point makes this a very interesting lens and one that I would imagine will end up in the kit bag of most S-series photographers. If you use an S1, an S1R, any of that kind of stuff, an S5, this would go perfectly with. I think this is just a no-brainer, right? The price point of this gives you a really good lens, nice shallow depth of field, good focal length. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, and I personally have really enjoyed my time with it. Do I have any negatives? Not really, to be honest. Not at this price point. I think it ticks every box I would want it to tick. I think that it's a good price and a good kind of position in terms of the quality of this lens, that you're not gonna feel the need to upgrade straight away. It can see you through. It's a good one to just have in the bag as well. 50mm f1.8, you could always do with one of them in the bag. You know what I mean? So I think this ticks a lot of boxes. I really like it. But any questions, let me know down in the comments. Any thoughts as well, let me know down there as well, because I'd love to hear all of your thoughts about this lens. There is already a 50mm lens in the S series range, but it is also extremely expensive, and I think this is it's gonna fill a gap that was really there already. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps me out personally. So I would personally really appreciate that. I will of course see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.